Ladies and gentlemen, we are here live at the world-famous Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey. I'm Marcy, and you're about to be completely damaged.
Completely damaged! Completely damaged!
Completely damaged. We are live here at the world-famous Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey, and I'm with the one and only Hendrik. Hendrik, thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for the night. It's going to be a battle royale for a chance at the tag team championships. So I'm pumped, and man, I'm ready to go. I want to win some titles tonight.
Nice, man. For those who don't know, what inspired you to become a professional wrestler or get into the business?
Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, man. I'd like to think that I'm trying to emulate him a little bit. I got my own spin on it, but that mat-based, aggressive, you know what I mean? That's what really got me into it, you know?
Do you have a favorite Kurt Angle match?
So, Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown, and I can't particularly put the date on it, but it wasn't a pay-per-view. It was just like a...
When he lost the boot?
No, because that happened at WrestleMania.
Okay.
But this, I think it finished with like a small package. But man, it was like 30 minutes. Man, it was, you know what I mean? It was just wrestling. You know what I mean? You see a lot of big spots and things, but like this was like a clinic with like wrestling, pins, holds, counters.
Basically.
Right, and I was like, man, I want to be like these guys.
Now, what are some of your favorite highlights thus far in your career?
So I have to say, here at the Monster Factory, when I stole one on Classy Max Sterling, that was a big moment for me because now he's the Supersonic champ. So did something there. And for a small bit of my career, I wrestled in CCW. So I remember a Halloween show when I beat Kid Osborne in a trick or treat street fight. And that was just a lot of fun. So that's another highlight.
Now, what's different between the Monster Factory compared to other promotions that you worked for?
I want to say there's a certain level of professionalism here. And some people call it strict, and some people, it might be a little tough. But there's a certain professionalism that kind of, you see him in a suit. It's very reminiscent of WB and how no matter what you're doing, you're always on the job and you're always clocked in, and it doesn't matter if you're backstage or in the ring or whatever you're doing, or not even here, you're outside promoting, that you carry yourself with a sense of pride that you come from the Monster Factory. And I've been to some other indies, and it's a little bit more lax, but I kind of like the tight-knit, sense of professionalism here, because it makes me think that this is how it's going to be when I make it to the WWE or any other company, and I kind of like that because I'd like to take pride in what I do. So
now take me through your routine before a show. Like, you get up in the morning?
Yeah, so I get up, breakfast, obviously, try to get a workout in, try to get a little tan in. The main thing for me is just to stay relaxed throughout the day and to make sure that I do get my food in and really just keep myself energized and ready to go, calm, try to shake off any nerves I might have, and then go in there with confidence. So things like promote the show and engage with my fans before and get them pumped. It's really important for me because it gets me confident to do what I do, and then when the fans get here, I can feed off of them, and I can go in there with even more confidence. So that's really kind of my thing.
Now, what are your goals for 2019?
2019, I would like to have a match for Ring of Honor, and I'd like to win some type of championship gold here at the MFPW. And if I can complete those two things, 2019, you know what I mean?
Let's talk about Mr. Get Ish Done, Danny Cage, man. What's he been so far for you with your career?
He's been like a father figure, tough coach, someone that I can look up to. He's really helped me with remaining an adult. Sometimes, in the fantasy world that we live in, it's easy to get carried away and pretend you're a child again. But the way that he conducts himself, he's a role model, and I almost want to emulate him in a way that I stay always, professional, and I don't goof off as much. I stay on task, focused, because I want to progress in this business. So Danny Cage is a guy that never stops working. He's when everyone is finished, they went home, he's still doing social media, he's doing something. When he's here, he's always 24 hours constantly. He loses sleep, but he's always working. You know what I mean? And that work ethic is something I want to, emulate and hopefully one day, get on his level of work ethic. So he's a really good role model, mentor. Can't say anything bad about him.
Now, if the completely damaged fans out there want to find more information about you, where do they go?
Well, I'm on all sorts of social media, so you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Look for Henrik, Henrik, Adamson, Adamson, Henrik Eesti, Eesti. You'll see me, all eyes on Henrik. Or follow Monster Factory. Monster Factory, the MFPW, all the social media platforms. You'll see me there.
Awesome. Well, best of luck in the future and best of luck tonight, man.
Thank you, man.
Damaged fans, I'm back here with Derek T. Lewis. Derek, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, for the fans that don't know, what inspired you to become a professional wrestler and get into business?
Well, actually, I'm a ring announcer for Monster Factory Pro Wrestling. I've been a fan of pro wrestling since 1982, so I may kind of age myself a little bit, guys. But, the first pro wrestler I ever saw was on Georgia Championship Wrestling, and his name was I think his name was Nature Boy Ric Flair. You heard of that guy before? Yeah. So I saw him do a promo when I was hooked from day one. I was 4 years old, and here I stand. And it's like I've always wanted to be a part of, this in any way I could. Obviously now it's like getting in the ring is not necessarily where I want to do, but just to be able to be around the business and do ring announcing and be around the guys and guys and girls, it's been a dream come true.
What do you enjoy most about ring announcing?
What do I like most about it?
Yeah, what do you enjoy most about it?
I think to me is getting the crowd involved. Because at the end of the day, you are the actual salesperson for the talent. You know what I mean? So whether it's a heel or a baby face, you have to really get the crowd engaged in what's going on. So you want them to boo, that heel, that vicious heel. You also want to love that baby face. So you have to be the one that's selling what's going on, selling to the people, so they're invested emotionally into what's going on in every single match.
Now, who do you study as far as ring announcing goes?
Ring announcing, my God, you're going back to Howard Finkel, Gary Michael Capetta, Lillian Garcia, Justin Roberts,
Mike McGurk.
Mike McGurk. We could talk about a lot of people that has done it and have been very, very successful at it. So, and even when I was doing backstage announcing, a few months back before I transitioned to ring announcing, I studied a lot of Mean Gene Okerlund. I studied a lot of Tony Schiavone, you name it. So people that have been uber successful in this endeavor, being able to just look at the footage. There's that WWE Network and there's YouTube and everything, so you'll be able to see their body of work and be able to kind of make it your own.
Do you get what's your certain routine of when a match comes up, like an event? Do you have a certain routine you do at home to get you pumped into that character?
Pretty much it's me, and I just try to turn the volume up to 10 or beyond as best I can. So again, it's all about selling to the people who's coming out next, and these are our stars. These are our future stars of this industry. So that's more my routine. It's just really getting the crowd pumped up and getting them emotionally invested, as I said before.
Nice. And what does Danny Cage and the Monster Factory mean to you?
Danny Cage, to me, is one of the most generous people I've ever met, and giving someone like myself an opportunity. Again, I come from, in a way, I'm a wrestling fan, but also too, I'm an actor and I'm also a recording artist. So he understands my background. He wanted to tap into that, and he believed in me. There was an event back in the end of January, and there was no ring announcer. This is how I transitioned to ring announcing. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to come and ring announce?" I had never done it before. But I had this, I've been watching pro wrestling all my life, so it's like, I'm going to do this. And he gave me the confidence. He's given me, the push, so to speak, to say, hey, go out there and do it. And if you look at what he's done so far, think about it. There's 4 guys in NXT right now that's come from Monster Factory Pro Wrestling. The proof's in the pudding. So Danny Cage means a lot to me, and I'm sure he means a lot to a lot of people here. And I'm sure everyone expresses the same sentiments that I'm doing right now.
You mentioned to be a recording artist and being an actor. How'd you get into that, and what have you done so far?
Well, as far as acting, I've always wanted to do it since I was a child. I've always wanted to get involved in entertainment. You know, I had parents that were in. My dad was in the Drifters, and my mom was also in a group when she was young as well. And I always knew in the back of my mind I wanted to do it. Films that I've done so far, I was in Man on the Ledge. I was with Sam Worthington. I was in Creed with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan. That was directed by Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther and you know what I mean. So I've done a few films. I've also done some web series. I've done some TV shows. I've done Eyewitness, The Perfect Murder, Homicide City. I'm actually heading down to Knoxville to film a TV show Monday, as a matter of fact. So can't really give too much information, but yeah, that's what I'm doing there. So, and I released a single called "Selfish Pride" 2 years ago. It's on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, every streaming music platform there is, so you can get it there as well.
If people want to find more information about you in the wrestling world, artist world, and in the acting world, where can they go?
You can go on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at TheRealDTLou on Instagram and also on Twitter. So you can find me there, follow me, and I usually follow back.
Well, Derek T. Lewis, thank you so much for your time. And
thank you. I appreciate you having me.
No problem, man. You guys will be right back with more Completely Damaged action.
This is Henrik, and you're watching Completely Damaged.
Damaged fans, we're back here live at the Monster Factory and on with Twitch. Twitch, thanks very much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I know you've been a fan of professional wrestling for a while on Pro Wrestling Weekly, 1490 with Ferran Derry. What inspired you to become a professional wrestler?
Well, a few things. I mean, to be fair, if it wasn't for Ferran at Pro Wrestling Weekly, I probably would have never really found out about the Monster Factory, and I wouldn't have started training to be a professional wrestler here. But one of the biggest inspirations for me was Jeff Hardy. You know, I think what made me decide I wanted to be a professional wrestler was the pipe bomb. You know, my four, I guess, biggest influences in terms of wrestling and in-ring stuff are Ambrose, Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, and Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan. I also really, you know, a lot of early Sami Zayn was a lot what inspired me. And guys that always are fighting from underneath, they're always fighting against the odds, but they manage to overcome it. You know, something I've been doing for a very long time.
What are some of your favorite highlights thus far in your career?
I don't even know if I could consider. I mean, well, to be fair, I mean, there have been a few cool things. My first match where I got to tag with QT Marshall, used to wrestle for Ring of Honor. That was pretty cool. I mean, getting to wrestle for Future of Honor, I got to wrestle Grizzly Redwood last show. It was a huge honor. Someone I used to watch at factory shows, which is really cool. Got to be one half of the MFPW Tag Team Champions. That was like, it didn't hit me until I got to the back that I'm a champion, actually. Holy crap. You know, it's a lot of just being in the ring with people I've wanted to be in the ring with and getting to, maybe not career as in on screen, but, you know, getting to learn from Christopher Daniels and Les Thatcher, Rip Rogers, Nigel McGuinness, people that have been brought in or that I've gone to do a seminar for. Just, yeah. That's what
it's still early in 2019, and you're already part of different promotions like Capital Wrestling and stuff like that. What are the goals for Twitch in 2019?
I'm not going to lie. I really want to be Supersonic Champion. A lot of guys that I sort of look up to here held the title, and I think that's, at this point, could be a bit of more of an attainable goal than heavyweight championship. I mean, everyone wants a heavyweight championship, but I don't know, the Supersonic title always meant something more to me.
And what does Danny Cage and the Monster Factory mean to you?
I mean, I wouldn't be a wrestler if it wasn't for the Monster Factory. I mean, I would have probably fantasized about, like, oh, if I get the chance, I'm going to do it. But this was like my chance to actually follow through and become a professional wrestler. This has been my home for the past 3.5 years. I've had, last 3 birthdays have been spent working here either in training or wrestling or something to do with that. This will always be like my home in a sense. No matter where I go, I'll always remember the factory because, you know, this is where I got my start. And this is a pretty damn good start.
Definitely is, man. And for the Damaged fans out there that want to learn more information about you and where you're wrestling, where can they go?
They can follow me on Instagram at MrFanspastic318. Follow me on Twitter at Twitchy_master, and I'm also on Facebook under Lucas Twitch DeSangro.
Well, Twitch, thank you very much for your time, and good luck on your wrestling journey.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Back to you guys. Completely Damaged fans, we are back here live, and I'm with Derek K. Moore. Derek, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
For those that don't know, what inspired you to get into this business?
I actually came over from the stand-up comedy and acting world. I've been involved in the entertainment industry since about 2012. I came into professional wrestling in 2015. I started training at a small place down in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, which is my home state, called Showcase Pro Wrestling. My in-ring career, I did a few matches, but the wear and tear that goes on in that ring, I'd much rather leave it to the guys that are bigger than me. Telling jokes is way safer. But once you get into the business, it's almost like this business kind of gets into you. And not being around it, I was just kind of had this like void. And I started kind of looking around at other promotions in my home state, just to like start getting back out into shows and everything. And in my time where I was working in ring is where I started finding more and more promotions, and that's how I found Monster Factory and found Danny Cage through that as well, obviously with him being the owner. And Danny was the one that really caught my attention because like his work ethic is just, it was inspiring to me. So the fact that now I'm here being at Monster Factory is kind of surreal. But I'm hanging out one day, I was just doing bookings, he reached out to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in ring announcing? And Danny, I know, is not that type of person to just hit somebody up out of the blue. That guy's got a Rolodex of people that he could go through. So for him to take time out of his day to contact me personally to be like, would you like a shot at this? So I came out for a camp. They tried me out. I made a lot of mistakes, but everybody was super, super nice with the coaching and just walking me through the motions. And at the end of the camp, Danny offered me a job. So here I am now. I've been doing ring announcing with them now for the end of their 2018 season, now coming into 2019. Also the ring announcer for Future of Honor with Ring of Honor, which has been a huge opportunity that I'm so grateful for. And I mean, it's the best job in the world. I get to kick back and watch professional wrestling from ringside. How can you go wrong?
Now, Monster Factory, what does it mean to you?
Family. That was one of the biggest things that caught my attention when I walked in here, was just the tight knit of how everybody watches out for everybody in this locker room. From even just like the people who are running concession stand, up through our security, up through myself with ring announcing, our commentary guys, our workers. Everybody is on the same page. When you walk into Monster Factory, there's like a different feel of the promotion. I mean, not to shine on any of the other indie promotions, a lot of great promotions out there, but there's just something about when you step into this building, you get goosebumps. It's almost like you feel like you're right there for the big time, because there's been so many big names that have come out of here over the last couple of years. I mean, just Punisher Martinez, Matt Riddle, Nick Camarado just making his NXT debut. The list goes on, and it's only going to. Oh God, you have the Forgotten Sons, bro. It only goes on and on. Danny has done an incredible job of carrying on the tradition of Monster Factory and creating big names in this business. So if you step in here, you're definitely on the right path.
You mentioned being a stand-up comedian. How'd you get into that routine, and what's it like?
Yeah, stand-up comedy, I'll admit, was just a harebrained idea one day. I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, and I kind of looked out, I was like, guys, I'm thinking of getting into stand-up. And it was 50-50 right down the middle. Half of them were like, bro, you'd be awesome at that. And then the other half were like, if you bombed, I would totally buy a ticket to that. So I looked at it, I'm like, all right, well, either way, you guys are coming to the show. So, I got involved in my local comedy club, the Comedy Connection out of East Providence, Rhode Island, and that's kind of what got me my start. And now here I am almost 7 years later. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of great national comedians like Jim Gaffigan, Chris Kattan, Roy Woods Jr. It's been a hell of a ride. It's opened up a lot of doors for me, as you can see. I never thought that stand-up comedy would have led me to, acting and now in professional wrestling. So I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm just very grateful to be here, and it's incredible to be around such talent like here at the Monster Factory.
Now, what are some ring announcers that you looked up to or studied from your past?
Well, when I had the opportunity put in front of me, I've always been like a big boxing and MMA fan, so obviously the Buffer brothers were always big inspirations to me. But as far as professional wrestling goes, I was big into, Dave Penzer is a great one. You also got Tony Chimmel, obviously the Fink, Howard Finkel, the guy's a legend when it comes to ring announcing. But even on like the interviewer end aspect, the great mean Gene Okerlund, obviously just passing away. So there's some big shoes to fill right now. Those are really the main names that I've been studying more as I've been getting not so much transitioning just into this, but just in general. So I kind of sharpen the tools. You don't want to show up for a gig, especially at this level, and drop the ball. So those are the names that kind of resonated with me. I try to kind of blend the old school ring announcing with some of the new school. So, you guys will see it tonight at the show. It's going to be a great time.
For fans out there that have never been to a Monster Factory show, what can they expect?
You're witnessing the future of professional wrestling, hands down. If you come to a Monster Factory show, every person that walks through that curtain and steps in those ropes, they're making a name for themselves in the independent scene. So definitely, anytime you see a name on the Monster Factory roster, do yourself a favor, Google them and follow them, because I guarantee you're going to see them on a mainstay one day.
If people want to find more information about you, where can they go as far as stand-up and professional wrestling?
I'm all over social media at Derek K. Moore. It's across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So.
Derek, thanks very much for your time, man.
I appreciate it.
Back to more completely damaged action, guys.
I'm Eric Martin, the classic Eric Martin, and you're watching Completely Damaged.
Damaged fans, I'm with Bobby Buffet. Bobby, thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here.
For those that don't know, what inspired you to get into professional wrestling business?
This is what I wanted to do since I was 6 years old. I remember being a little kid watching Friday Night SmackDown, Booker T versus Chris Benoit. You know, that's the 7 series for the United States Championship. Just caught my attention. It was the only thing I could really, stay interested in.
What does Danny Cage and the Monster Factory mean to you?
Oh man, shoot. I've been here for around a year. This is literally like a haven for me. If it wasn't for this, I don't know what I would be doing. It's like wrestling literally been the biggest part of my life. And I knew ever since I was in high school, this is where I was going to come. And I was shocked that it came into fruition because it was totally different than how I planned it to be. When I first started to know I was going to pursue wrestling heavy. Let's go into details. I figured I was going to graduate, go to college, save some money up, and then just come here, be in shape in a way. And the way it actually happened was I graduated high school, then go to college. I was broke out of my mind. And I just happened to be working. One day I was on Twitter scrolling, saw Danny Cage talking about an open house. I'm like, shit, I'm free today. I was unemployed. I said, might as well go down and give it a shot. And he was impressed with me. He gave me like a break on tuition knowing I was broke. So it means a lot to me because I know a lot of people willingly ready to rip somebody off like me, especially not knowing anything about the world of professional wrestling outside of being a fan. That means a lot.
Talk about coming through that curtain, the adrenaline, man. What's it like for you?
I haven't got to do that yet, but it's going to be really soon. I know for a fact everything that I've seen, a whole new world of professional wrestling, like I said, beyond the fan perspective, everything is breathtaking. I remember the first time I got called into the ring just to do like little extra stuff on the side. And, there was fans coming up to me after the show saying, oh, you did a good job. I'm like, wow. I loved wrestling before, but this is like a whole new aspect. I really love wrestling now.
Talk about that first bump that you took, man. What was the adrenaline like?
The first bump in the ring, actually, I was kind of like anticipating what it was going to be like before I came here. So, it wasn't smart for me, but the first time I took a bump was actually on a hardwood floor. Yeah, it was damaged, definitely. I had tried to anticipate what it's going to be like. And, coming here, it wasn't that bad. You definitely got to get used to it, though.
So 2019, what are some goals you have?
My goal in 2019 is to have my first match on a big show. And then definitely to be in a title run. That's what nobody comes to wrestling and not have titles, you know what I'm saying? If your goal is just to, kind of have fun, that's not really. I want to make a career out of this. So,
If people want to follow your wrestling journey, where can they go?
You can go to Elijah Black MFPW on Instagram, the official Elijah Black on Twitter. That's pretty much it.
Appreciate your time, man. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Damaged fans, every Monday morning from 10 to 11 on MonkaRadio.com, you can hear me, RC, alongside Arthur, the Bullet Littman, and Matt Porter as we bring you Damaged Radio. We have interviews with pro wrestlers, musicians, NASCAR people, and more. So make sure you get Damaged Radio live. Damaged fans, I'm here back at the world-famous Monster Factory with Primal Fear. Guys, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having us, man.
Now, for those that don't know, what inspired you guys to get into professional wrestling business?
I grew up doing martial arts. My father was a martial arts instructor, so I already was very physical at a young age. And I think I started watching wrestling around the age of 6 or 7. And the way it was explained to me, no one ever said the F word to me, but they said it was much like sparring and choreography in martial arts. So I kind of immediately was gravitated towards that aspect of it. So ever since then, I was like, oh, I want to do that for the rest of my life.
How about yourself?
I grew up in a wrestling family, I guess you could say. My uncle, my grandfather, my brother, they all, I grew up with, I never really knew anything but wrestling. It's all the video games we played. It's all we watched. And it's just, once you love something so much, you figure you might as well give it a try.
Talk about the adrenaline rush coming through that curtain back there, man. What's it like?
I don't even think there's anything to compare it to. You know, I've done it all. I played football, I'm amateur wrestling, I used to kickbox. There's no feeling like it, you know. It's literally when you're in that ring, nothing else in the world matters, you know. That's just, you're in that moment, and it consumes your whole body.
Definitely. How about yourself?
Pretty much the same. I've done the same. I played football, amateur wrestling, martial arts. I used to play in a band, everything like that. There's no rush that's similar to getting in the ring, kind of having the people alongside with you. Whereas sometimes you're playing football in an amateur environment, there's people against you or people who aren't so impressed. And this environment area is here to see you perform. So,
What are some favorite matches thus far in your career?
we had a really good match last weekend against Coast to Coast, Future of Honor. That was probably one of my favorite matches recently. And Turkey Slam. Yeah.
2 years ago, we did a 5-on-5 elimination match, and it was me, Matt, Manny, Punishment Martinez, and Sage Matthews versus Falaba, Mario, Homicide, Nick, and Mark Cruz. And, you know, being in the ring with obviously two of my best friends and our mentor, Punishment Martinez, and, you know, being across the ring from Homicide and Fala and Mario are in Impact at the time, so it was really, really cool. We were the main event of the show. The match probably went an hour. It was amazing.
What I'm asking today, sorry.
No, you're good.
What I'm asking today is, what does Danny Cage and the Monster Factory mean to you?
The Monster Factory, I guess, is home, you know? It's the best way to say it. It's where I learned everything that I know. I could always come back here. I always feel welcomed here. I never really feel awkward here. It's a family.
How about yourself?
Much the same, exactly what you said. This is home for us. This is my first independent wrestling show was the Monster Factory, and immediately I was like, okay, this is where I want to train. I came to check it out to look for schools, and we found it, pretty much.
If people want to find more information about you guys, where do they go?
I'm under Matt Oman 999 on G999 at Instagram and Twitter.
How about yourself?
It's Fear Gabriel 13 on Instagram and Twitter. There's also a Primal Fear Facebook page, which is all three of us collectively, so you can check that out.
Awesome. Well, Primal Fear, you just got completely damaged. Back to you guys. Damaged fans, I'm here with Classic Eric Martin. Eric, thanks for your time, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I mean, and not be interrupted. Yeah, thanks for coming to the world famous Monster Factory and allowing us to tell our stories to everybody. Yeah.
For those that don't know out there, what inspired you to get into professional wrestling business?
So I was a fan as a kid, as most of us were, and I always wanted to do it, and then I didn't know how. That was always like a big problem. But one of my good friends, Chuck Payne, he started wrestling and then brought me into it, and I was just like, I fell in love with it. I've been doing it ever since.
What are some favorite highlights of your career thus far?
Well, I just actually got back from WXW Wrestling Academy. No. In Germany.
Wow.
Okay, more music. Love it. No, I just got back from there. I started training at the Ring of Honor dojo, which is awesome. And then, tonight is going to be another one. I've been wrestling people since I've gotten back, and I'm like Ricky Reyes was one of the top guys on my list, so now I get to roll in there with a guy who helped me out a lot in the beginning of my career.
Talk about the culture in Germany compared to here, man. What was it like for you?
Oh man, well the culture is totally different. Everybody kind of keeps to themselves, but like I don't know, the wrestling is totally different. It's more of a sport out there. It's a fight. Like it's a lot different than what you see here in the States, and I tried to adapt that more so into my style and make me stand out compared to other guys on the cards that I'm on.
Nice. Now, what are your goals for 2019?
Well, hopefully to make more steps with Ring of Honor and, you know, become the man here in the independent scene in New Jersey, and I don't know, maybe wrestle in every state. I don't know. It's a big goal, but that's, you know.
Now, if the Damaged fans want to find more information about you, where do they go?
Well, Instagram is Classic Eric Martin, and Twitter is Classic E Martin.
Well, Classic, thank you much for your time. Best of luck here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
I'm Dr. Carl Martin, and you're listening to Completely Damaged Radio.
Damage fans, I'm here with Daniel Alexander, a referee here at the Monster Factory. Thanks for your time.
How you doing, sir? Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. For those that don't know, what inspired you to get in the wrestling business?
Well, actually, my grandmother, when I was a child, at the age of 5, she actually put Monday Night Raw on television. I actually saw my actual first match was Rob Van Dam versus Eddie Guerrero, and I became in love with the Frog Splash, and they both did the Frog Splash. So ever since then, I just became a fan.
That's awesome. Your grandmother, of all people.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. Was she a fan as well?
Yes. Favorite wrestler, Rikishi.
The stink face and everything?
Yeah.
Nice, man. Now, what are some of your favorite matches you refed so far?
Honestly, off the top of my head, LSG versus Manny Soriano for the World Heavyweight title, where Manny Soriano finally became world champion. That's honestly my favorite match to date that I ref.
Talk about the crowd here coming through that curtain, the adrenaline rush. What's it feel like for you?
As a referee, I even get a pop as a referee, so it's crazy adrenaline rush. I know the wrestlers get a crazy adrenaline rush as well, so it's pretty amazing.
Did you always want to be a ref, or did you want to be a wrestler? Or?
Honestly, as a young kid, I always wanted to be a wrestler. But like as I grew up into an adult and I finally got into the business, like learning as a referee became natural to me because I actually learned the ins and outs of psychology, all the little bits and pieces to wrestling. I could think I got it down pat as a referee.
Nice. And what does Danny Cage and the Monster Factory mean to you?
Well, Monster Factory is home, so Danny Cage is a father to me. Like he helped everybody out, he steered everybody in the right direction and gave everybody second, third, fourth, etc. chances. But I mean, Monster Factory is home, and Danny Cage is like a father to me.
2019, we're live here. What are some goals for you?
My goals is to become a champion, one, but that may help make the world a better place with this pro wrestling, help make me a better man and a better father.
Awesome, man. If people want more information about you, where you go to ref, or where can they go?
Well, they can go on YouTube, Instagram. My Instagram is Mr215ATG, and my Facebook is Salim Alexander. You can catch me here at Monster Factory.
Awesome. Appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Completely Damaged fans, I'm with a very familiar face right here, Danny Kukler. Danny, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today. It's an honor being with you. Obviously, you're the one who got me started here. With Danny, interviewing Danny, getting me to know Chad and Royal and everyone like Nick and Matt and everybody. And it was very good that you kept me in the loop here. So I really appreciate being on here today.
Now, what do you enjoy most about coming up here to the Monster Factory?
I enjoy the camaraderie. There's a certain camaraderie about being in wrestling, being a part of locker rooms, being a part of a sort of family. And I've been in locker rooms at Ring of Honor and MLW, and it's sort of not the same. And not to slight those companies, and those companies do great business and whatnot, but I love the camaraderie here. It brings so many people together as a team and I love the Paulsboro community too that comes out to support us, because without the Paulsboro community, we wouldn't be here. And that's very important to realize. Like the wrestling club and everything, they let us have their space and turn it into a little bit of mania for a few hours. So it's awesome.
And what does Danny Cage and the Factory mean to you?
Danny Cage means the world to me, honestly. Danny Cage is someone I look up to as a mentor. I ask for advice all the time. He keeps me straight and in line when I get out of line. And I can speak for the boys in saying, like, I feel like Danny is a great mentor, not a bully at all, not someone who will roll over for you, but will take you seriously and take you into consideration what's best for you.
And last but not least, why should people come and attend a Monster Factory show?
Because it's energetic. It's very energetic, and it's a sense of community. That's what I go back to, is the sense of community here, and you can definitely feel it in the community.
And I gotta say, man, people want to listen to your show at MonkaRadio.com. Where do they go?
Hard and Heavy, Fridays, 10 to 11 on Monka Radio, where music and minds meet. I'm doing a special this Monday from after RC's show, Completely Damaged, from 11 to 2, I believe, and doing a 3-hour show. And I'll throw in some good goodies for you, and stay damaged.
We're back here live at the Monster Factory. I'm with Sam Well. Thank you for your time.
Hey, how's it going, man? Feels good to be here.
That's right, man. For those that don't know, what inspired you to get into professional wrestling business?
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. It's just there's something great about this business. It teaches you about being like resilient and shows you how to be humble, and a lot of great things like come with this business. And I needed to get in here to really experience that.
Who has been some of your influences?
One of my influences would definitely have to be Rey Mysterio, Ricky Reyes. He's in the building right now. They've been they're my influences because like they're like smaller guys, but they can really pack a punch. So that's one of my biggest influences because they definitely have that power within them.
Definitely. Talk about coming through that curtain, the adrenaline rush for you. What's it like?
Oh man, it's like no other feeling. Like it doesn't matter if it's 100 people, 1,000 people, 10 people. It feels amazing to just get out there and perform in front of an audience. Doesn't matter who it is.
So everything goes away once you go through that curtain. Any problems at home, everything just fades, right?
Yeah, I mean you forget everything. You're just here to put smiles on faces, maybe tears. It doesn't matter, but it's just as long as you get those people feeling those emotions.
What does this man right here, Danny Cage, and the Monster Factory mean to you?
Oh man, he's my coach. He's my mentor. He's everything a coach, a good coach, a great coach should be. Like he definitely pushes you to your limit. When you feel like you're about to quit, he will drag out about 100 to 1,000 miles more out of you, and you didn't even know that was in you until he brings it out. So it's really great.
For 2019, what are some goals for you?
One of my goals is to make my debut as a wrestler. Right now I'm a manager, but as a wrestler, hopefully that's my biggest 2019 goal. So that's something I really want to do because I think I'm ready, but I got to prove myself still.
If people want to follow your wrestling journey, where can they go?
You can go on Instagram, follow me at Patchy. It's PACKINPACHI. And you can also follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. You can give a like to Samir. That's my real name, but Samuel is the stage name.
Well, Samuel, I appreciate your time and best of luck in 2019.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
I'm Matthew Oman.
I'm Gabriel.
We're Primal Fear, and you're watching Completely Damaged.
Damage fans, what an action-packed day here at the world-famous Monster Factory. Now you got so...
Welcome back to the factory, RC.
Dr. Carl Martin.
Just so glad that you could finally be here with us. After seeing you in your place of work, now you get to see me in mine.
The treatment is here.
It is very well here, and please allow me to explain. I might be a little bit different here than I am in studio.
Well, we kind of heard your story on Damage Radio live at Monco. Can you tell us a little about it? Your story in professional wrestling.
I came to the Monster Factory seeking those who needed treatment. I always knew there was pain in professional wrestling, but if you would have told me, RC, if you could have explained to me the turmoil that these young men and women feel, I would have been here many, many years sooner.
Talk about the adrenaline rush of coming through that curtain, man, for you. What's it like?
It's almost as if I am living through my patients, because if you see them not in this sort of arena, there's not much life in their eyes. It's only when they come out, that entrance behind me, that they become alive. The light, it flourishes in their eyes, and I know that it's working.
Now, I got to ask you, man, we haven't been able to find the bullet lately. Did you have any whereabouts of where the bullet can be? Because I remember you talking about the treatment, man. Did you take the bullet from me?
I took nothing from you. What I'm going to give you, though, you'll have to wait and see.
Well, Damage fans, I'm RC. This is Dr. Carl Martin. And remember, don't keep it nice and neat. Keep it completely
damaged.